I can't believe it. It has been another good month of movies and another good month of random picks. Less so on the horror side, but I still have a fair bit of horror that I would like to go over. So without sparing any time at all, let's dive straight into it. So I practically grew up with these movies. A lot of people in my generation have kind of grown up with these films, but for whatever reason, I never watched the original animated Alice in Wonderland until recently. I'd always been a big fan of Tim Burton and his work, and so for whatever reason as a child, I just seemed to gravitate to those more darker, I guess, edgier sort of works that Tim Burton seemed to produce. I remember my mother showing me Edward Scissorhands as a kid, and I just loved that sort of movie, the whimsicalness to it, mixed with this eerie feeling that always made me uncomfortable, but for whatever reason, I just dug it. But with going back and watching the animated movie for Alice in Wonderland made me kind of appreciate the Alice in Wonderland that Tim Burton created and his world and his direction that he decided to move with it based off the animated and I guess stories that were revolving around Alice in Wonderland. Feel like now that I'm older, I kind of like the original a little bit more, maybe because it's newer to me, but the way that they use the colors and that style of animation and just the whimsicalness of like, this world doesn't really make sense and so it shouldn't make sense to us what's happening all the time. Like it does make sense, but like it just feels like you're just going through this wacky world where like, you know, these people are dancing around a rock or like there's flowers that can talk and people are painting roses and stuff like that. Nothing's necessarily explained in the original and I feel like it doesn't need to be because this world is so filled with such wacky things that you just kind of got to accept that that is the way the world functions. And with the animated movie, and I guess with Tim Burton's work, you can interpret a lot of different things with the film, and I really like that. It's a good time, and I enjoyed it. You can definitely see where Tim Burton also grabbed his inspiration from for his take on the film. But with that being said, I feel like going back and watching Tim Burton's one doesn't necessarily speak to me as much as it used to, but I still appreciate it for what it is. As for Alice Through the Looking Glass, I did not like that film. Not a fan. I think there's some good performances, but overall, I didn't mess with the story, so I don't really feel like I should say much on it. Okay, so The Backrooms was an interesting one. I really liked it, but at the same time, it was really boring. It's definitely just the Goomba brain in me speaking when I say that. There were just certain shots that I felt really lingered on, and I did appreciate that it's built up this tension, but I just really wasn't feeling it in myself to be invested in that tension, if that makes sense. Horror movies will tend to leave you a lot of breadcrumbs to kind of build up this sense of unease, but I feel like the movie kind of drops you into it without building up anything that should make you uncomfortable. I guess it could have been the movie's intention of building this mundaneness that you find in office spaces or places of stagnity. Is that a word? Stagnity.
Stagnating.
Well, stagnating is the actual pronunciation on that. Places of stagnating where nothing really feels like it's moving, but it's all the same and things become so familiar that, like The Backrooms, it copies itself into a point of unrecognizable, to a point where it's unrecognizable. God, I can not talk today. And I can't say that I'm familiar with the original creator's work going into this. I'll put his name up on screen, but I'm not familiar with his work or his interpretation on The Backrooms, so I don't really have that to fall back on. But what I really enjoyed with this film and what leads back into that is how he wrote his characters going into this. For one, the main dude that we follow, his journey is him being stuck in a rut and being stuck in that same place of not being able to grow outside of it because he's become so comfortable in his little bubble where he just relives these scenarios of where he messed up. And on the other side, you have the therapist who's dealing with her own thing of losing grip on reality, like her mother did with dealing with what I can kind of theorize was Alzheimer's. I think that's what they were trying to go with, to the point where she's scared of letting go of the past, but also scared of letting go of a memory that could spiral her into a point where she doesn't remember anything. So you could interpret that as a fear of just her not becoming her mother. Maybe that's not the movie's intentions, but that was kind of my interpretation on what I thought it was trying to tell me. And that's where I really locked in and really liked how they did that, especially in its music choices. There's an album called Everything at the End of Times where it uses a song from that, where that album in itself is about Alzheimer's disease and the depiction of the early stages to the very much end stages. And I feel that loops quite perfectly into what I assume this director was going for. To me, each character in this film has a different takeaway for what the Backrooms means to them, and that was kind of nice. That I really liked that. I especially enjoyed how they did the sets. Like, you see them walking around these like physical locations, and it's actually so unreal. I especially enjoyed when he would switch from these really cinematic cameras to a full-on, like, what do you call it, handheld found footage sort of style. Kind of wish the movie was all handheld to an extent. I get why they didn't do it, because I feel like if they chose that, it would take away from the characters that they were trying to portray. So I'm glad that they used it sparingly, but at the same time, those were the best parts of the film. Overall, The Backrooms is pretty sick. It's kind of one of those films that I'll probably give a second watch to see how much I actually appreciate it. But it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Velociraptor is pure cinema at its finest. This was a goofy film, but so worth my time. I love watching spoof movies. I love comedies, but there's like a handful of ones that actually make me laugh out loud. And discovering Velociraptor with my friends late at night, watching it on Discord was just a vibe. It was a vibe of a movie. It's a good fucking comedy. Just so random of a plot line. It's one of those ones that just doesn't really need to make sense. You just kind of accept it for the goofiness that it is. And I really appreciate that. And I'm really disappointed with myself that I didn't watch it sooner, because goddamn, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. You basically follow this guy who's a priest, and he gets infected with this wishbone that turns him into a velociraptor. And it's kind of like a werewolf in London situation where he jumps back and forth every night of becoming this velociraptor and then having to deal with his sinful acts as he's realizing he's murdered people and stuff like that. It's goofy. It's fun. It's what I'd definitely call a palate cleanser of a film. If you got some friends and some drinks, chuck it on. It's just a good time. It's just a good time. There's not much to say. Just go have a laugh. Also, I realized that I was saying Velociraptor and not Velocipasta. It's Velocipasta. Yeah, don't flame me on the internet. I get names wrong all the time. Project Mary is probably the most recent one that I've watched on this list. Like, I watched it yesterday, but it was really good. I'm not really a sci-fi guy, and I will never claim to be. I do like aliens and space and stuff like that, but I've never really been super heavy on it. I'm more of a fantasy guy, always have been, but this movie was really good. It had a lot of heart. Ryan Gosling's performance is as good as always. What a handsome man that guy is. He's always been really good at bringing a charm to his characters where you can't help but love the character. And his dynamic with the Rock, or the Rocky, if you will, in this film is amazing. Like, I never thought that I would be emotional over a rock, but this movie somehow managed to do that. Props to them. It's also shot really amazing. Whatever they did with its CGI, whether it was miniatures or whatever they did in this film, is absolutely insane. Its space cinematography is really good, and it reminded me of Interstellar, which is definitely one of my favorite sci-fi films. There's a thing with the movie too where it jumps from the present to the past, and it makes you really gain an appreciation for characters that, this is a major spoiler, but for characters that have passed away on the ship, because Ryan Gosling ends up by himself on the ship because the crew that he was with passed away. But the way that they jump back and forth as he's piecing together the memories and as the movie shows you what the past was like, you grow to feel sad that those characters had actually passed before you even got a chance to know them. It's just one of those movies that is an emotional ride with an amazing score and is designed to make you feel the highest highs and the lowest lows while watching it. And I think they did a pretty good job with that. So, good stuff, Project Hail Mary. I've got two movies that I'm kind of going to put together because I don't really have much to say, and two, I didn't really enjoy them that much. The Thor is a pretty good body horror. It's pretty scary if you're not a big fan of bugs, but at the same time, it's also a movie that I found to be kind of the definition of average. Like, I didn't really have necessarily a good time watching it, but not a bad time watching it either. It was kind of a film that, to me, tried to be too much of the thing and try to live up to that sort of hype of it, but without diving into so much that made that movie really cool. It was kind of predictable, and by the end, I was not really feeling it as much. I feel like the characters made too many dumb decisions, which is not necessarily a bad thing when it comes to horror, but it didn't have a charm that I liked about it to justify its, you know, mistakes, if you will. As for the long legs though, I really enjoyed how it was shot. I enjoyed the whole thing with Nicolas Cage, and I guess its synopsis for its plot, like this FBI agent who's also a medium and is solving these murders that tie to like a Zodiac killer type thing where she's trying to figure out and piece together what is really going on. But in execution, I found it to be kind of just not it. At the end of the movie, it was like, okay, I've watched this. It wasn't necessarily for me. I know some people really enjoyed it. Some people really didn't enjoy it, but I don't know. I didn't click on to what everyone else was feeling with this film as much, I should say. I guess the moment where I checked out the most in this film is the moment where Nicolas Cage click-clacks himself, and from there, I kind of lost interest. I kind of liked the dynamic that was Nicolas Cage and the medium trying to figure out all these different pieces, but not necessarily the rest of the film, if that makes sense. The final film I would like to talk about with this video today is Hokum, which in my last video, I'm pretty sure I mentioned I was pretty hyped about watching this one, and I definitely was not disappointed. This is definitely Damien McCarthy's best work. I feel like it's really honed in his style and really honed in his world that he's trying to push forward with all of his movies. It's definitely not scary. There was not a single point that I felt like I was unsettled, but I definitely found that this movie had a charm in the way that it just delivered in on its scares. Like, this whole world is set up where demons and witches and all these different things just exist, and the characters themselves almost just kind of accept that these things exist. They're surprised by the fact of what they're witnessing, but it's not an overreaction. They just kind of go, oh, that's what is that? And there was definitely a moment that was really intense where he had to kind of draw a circle around him so this thing wouldn't get him, and that moment had me like clenched on the edge of my seat, and I found it more intense, less than scary, because I was like, please hurry up and draw this goddamn circle, because sometimes this man was going way too slow with it. If this kind of makes sense, it almost felt with this one especially very Stephen King-esque. You have like this writer that's going to this creepy hotel. This writer is a bit of an asshole and kind of depressed, but Adam Scott kind of brings this subtlety of you kind of like him at the same time, and all the actors and I guess people around this writer respect him and kind of want the best for him and don't really like treat him like an asshole, but at the same time can see right through his bullshit. And you get moments where you get to see him like drop his guard a little bit and actually become somebody that's kind of a nice person, and you can see with Adam Scott's character that he's just built a lot of walls to protect himself from I guess human connections with other people. That is 100% brought on by his troubled upbringing. I don't really know how to explain this, but if you watch the film, it has a lot of whimsiness to it where it cuts away to reveal that this creepy scenario that the people at this hotel have had with ghosts and stuff like that. It's pretty charming, but that's pretty much all I have to say on it. I feel like it's a movie that people should watch, and I don't necessarily find it that scary, but there could be some scary moments you could take away. I don't know. I'm desensitized to a lot of that, but thank you guys for watching. That was this video that I've put out on the internet, so thanks for sitting down. If you like the vibe, like and subscribe, and I can't think of a rhyme, so anyway, goodbye.